Rosoka software is primarily used for entity extraction. Entity extraction involves identifying people, places, organizations, or really anything of interest to you from large sets of unstructured documents. This means that you may not know what you're looking for when you start looking. It's different from a basic word search because you don't know what's in your data yet. That's part of what you want to find out. So let me show you what this looks like using Rosoka. I've got here a list of sets of documents. And I can make one of these active, and I can process it. So we can see in the progress bar up at the top how many documents have been processed, and we can see that it's still working. And I've run this set of documents before, so this list over here is populated, but if I hadn't, as the documents were processed, they would appear in this list over on the left. So I can click on the different documents in the list to switch from document to document. We can see on the left here, I've got a tree indicating all of the different entities that occur in this particular document. I can expand one of these entities to show me a list of all the people. And the color in this list on the left corresponds to the hit highlights in the full text of the document over on the right. So I can see a lot of different things are highlighted in different colors over here. And the red things indicate people, the green indicate places, the blue indicate organizations. So I can expand a particular person if I'm interested in a person, and I can see that this person, Abu Bakr Bashir, has various different attributes attributed to him. So for example, given name, gender, surname, and then I've got a list of the different forms in which it occurs in the document. So I have the full form, Abu Bakr Bashir, which occurs here, and this is the norm, and then I've got just the last name where he's referred to just by that. This is a variant form. And then there are some pronominal references to this person. I can also see the salience and polarity of a particular entity. So this entity has a salience of 100, and this is on a scale from 0 to 100, so that's very high. This is an important entity in this document. And the polarity is -3 on a scale from -3 to +3, so that's very negative. The language describing this entity in this document is very negative. So from here, I can see a couple different visualizations of what's happening in this document. If I click on the Entities tab, I can see the most salient entities, and the size of the bubble indicates the relative salience, so the bigger things are more important in this document. I can see the relationships in this document. I can see a map of the concepts, where the color indicates the type of entity and the size, again, indicates salience. And these light blue things down here are called salient phrases. That means that this is something that Rosoka software has decided is important, even though it wasn't something that was mentioned or extracted as an entity. So if I have something like known by his alias, or capture, or age of the internet. And then I can also see locations on a map. So every place that was mentioned in this document is mapped for me here. If I expand one of the places, Bali for instance, I can see that I have the attributes Latin long. These weren't included in the document, but Rosoka knows this information. So once I've found an entity of interest to me, I can right-click on this entity, and I can, from here, pivot to a bunch of different views depending on what I'm interested in. So I could search Wikipedia or Google. I can click on contexts, and this will take me to a list of all of the documents that mention this entity, and a little bit of the context on either side so that I can see how it's mentioned. And this is showing me the full form, Abu Bakr Bashir, but it's also matching partials. So I have down here Abu Bakr Bashir, where Bashir is spelt differently. And then I have some examples of just Abu. So this will match full and partial matches to my string. And from here I can click to be taken to the particular document. And I can see that that entity is highlighted for me. And instead of having the list of 80-something documents here over on the left, I just have the subset that includes this particular entity. From this right-click menu, I can also explore connections. So I can see all the different entities that are connected to the entity Abu Bakr Bashir across this whole corpus. And I can step out from here to 2 degrees of separation to see second-degree connections, and 3 and 4, and so on until it becomes basically a big hairball. And if I don't want to see everything, if I just want to see, for example, person and org connections, I can select just that. And now when I step out to second-degree connections, this is a little bit more meaningful and easier to read. So from here, again, if I decide that one of these entities is of interest to me, I can pivot to the documents. So now I've got a subset of the documents that mention Al-Qaeda. There are a couple items on this right-click menu that are specific for data scientists who are interested in modifying the linguistic base. And these are the lexicon lookup and the rule match detail. So I can click on look up in the lexicon, and I can see that Schubert is in the English lexicon as a surname and as a city name. If I wanted to remove one of these, I could do that from here. If I wanted to add something new, for example, if I think that Schubert is also an org name, I could add that from here. And if I want to see why Atika Schubert was extracted as a person, I can click on Show Rule Match Detail, and this will explain to me the rules that fired that resulted in this being extracted as a person. If I double click on one of these, it'll take me to that particular rule file, and I can either modify it from here or see what the pattern is that I'm looking at, or something like that. So all of the examples that we've looked at so far have been in English, but they don't have to be. For example, here we've got a text that's in Russian, and Rosoka can extract from Russian. That's fine. If I expand one of the entity types here, we can see that the norm is presented to us in English. So you don't have to be able to read Russian to figure out what's been extracted. I also can switch over to a gloss view, which shows not a machine translation, but sort of an Englishy gist of what's happening in this document. So that's a quick overview of Rosoka Toolkit. I hope that was helpful to you.